It was like a black widow spider. Was that a tick? Ooh, gross.
Is it a tick?
No, it's a spider. I missed it.
Wow, what a manly man defending us all.
So I wanted to make a quick video. I was just doing the only repair this car needed after doing power tour. It burnt out a header gasket, which I'm sure I've showed at some point in some other thing. So I'm just putting one on and that's it. But in the last couple power tour videos I made, and I made one saying, you know, about our experience and all that, and people were super cool about it. And I noticed a lot of comments where I'm going, you know, next year, 2023, 2024, whatever it is, and people kind of kept pushing it back. Now, we wanted to go originally in 2020, and we weren't allowed in the country for a couple of years, but now we're allowed. We want to do all these road trips. And I think the big thing, and I saw in the comments, was people were overthinking the car and overthinking the trip. You know, thinking they need overdrive, and they need air conditioning, and they need cruise control, and all this and that, and all these things. You don't need that. I overthought it a lot, but I mean, we brought a pretty basic car, brought a lot of spare parts and a lot of tools because we were going to break down. But now we made the trip, so I think we can go anywhere. We're going to drive this thing nonstop. Anyway, I wanted to just kind of address that. So anybody who has the concern or a fear their car maybe won't make it or isn't ready or anything, there's just 3 or 4 things I would recommend that you go over and you'll be fine. Now, obviously, if the thing has a dead miss or it's smoking oil or it's got no oil pressure or, you know, it doesn't have third gear, the rear end's howling, those are, you know, dead problems that you really shouldn't go on a 1,000 or 2,000 mile trip with. You shouldn't take it to the grocery store if that's what's happening. But if the car is sound and you have those basics, give it a once over. I mean, you know, go through the motor, make sure it's good, do a tune-up, plugs, wires, whatever you got to do there. Make sure the brakes are good, make sure the suspension's good. Just, that's more or less just for your own comfort. Like, as you're on the highway, you're doing your thing. Now, the only upgrades I think you need, I mean, you can have anything you want, but we're just talking like if this was a basic car with a small block Chevy and turbo 350 and a standard rear end, yeah, it might rev a little bit on the highway, or you might have to go a little bit slower. But you know what? There was a lot of old cars out there, and every time we were cruising with a pack of people, it was always like, who's the slowest guy? And you matched that guy's speed. So there was never the worry of getting left behind. And if you broke down, no one did leave you behind. But where we went, it was hot, probably a bit of a fluke thing, but it seems like every year it's a fluke thing where it's hot or it's raining or there's a problem. So I put this big honking radiator in with a couple of dual electric fans on it, and this really saved our bacon. People were dropping like flies all along the interstate and every time we hit an event, because when you're pulling in, there was a long wait to accomplish anything, to get in and sign in and all that sort of stuff. So I think a good cooling system is extremely important. Now, I've always been a big believer in a good cooling system, so spend your money on that. Otherwise, I mean, it's really no big deal. A set of wipers that works, again, I'd recommend that. A set of headlights, turn signals, taillights, all that sort of stuff. But really, any old car can make it. Let's not forget, this is a 1957 Chevrolet. In 1957, they would have drove this across the country. So why can't it do it now? Air conditioning would be nice, cruise control would be nice, all those things, that would be fantastic. But you really don't need it. Now, I've loaded this thing full of tools. We pulled the back seat. It's still got all the tools and stuff in it as it is. We had a couple of minor, oh yeah, there's all the junk we have. We ended up picking up a mannequin head along the way, but I loaded the back full of stuff. And one thing that happened was the trunk hitch broke, which was a pain. What are you gonna do? This thing's all full of stuff. I did weld in a couple of D-rings so we could run ratchet straps across just so everything was 100% locked in. A spare tire, I had a jack, like a light aluminum jack, that was pretty handy. I got a toolbox. This crate was full of miscellaneous wire connectors, stuff like that. I brought a spare electric fan. I did bring a spare rear end because I didn't know if that was going to make it. I think we used the drain pan, a couple of screwdrivers, and I pulled one wheel. And that was it, just for kind of maintenance stuff. I didn't use hardly any tools. Now here's what I learned for next year. And if you're watching and you're going to be there, you maybe help me out. You don't need to bring damn near anything, because guess what? Some other idiot like me brought everything. So I think I loaned out and gave more stuff away than I used myself. I did bring spare oil, transmission fluid, coolant, rear end oil and all that, just to be on the safe side. We used half a liter, half a quart of oil on the whole trip, which honestly, I don't know if I checked it before we left. And that was that. Now inside the car, we'll go around so Danny isn't kill herself on the rocks. So this thing had rebuilt suspension and all that, but just something that's in driver quality, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Get in the damn car and drive it. Now inside the car, I wired up a second fuse block. So you can see there's electric cooling fans or old school blow fans. And I just JB welded them to a set of giant honkin' magnets so they could literally go anywhere. And they were handy as hell. So that was when it was slow moving traffic. We used those like crazy. Now this is the thing that everyone kept asking about. I did a little video on it, but I think maybe we'll do one more thing on it. So there's a company, a real company out there called Cool Shirts, and they sell like a skin tight kind of Under Armour style shirt that you would wear. Oh, this is leaking for our process. The guys wear like road racing and stuff. And essentially it's just a shirt with a bunch of little, kind of hoses running through it. And they run a cooler with ice. And it just circulates cool water around your body, which obviously keeps you cool. Well, they're expensive. So I got some DD Speed Shop shirts, and I hot glued some, this is like for plumbing your refrigerator type things from Home Depot, water line into it. And I then put on some barbs into some Quick Connect air lines, because I had lots of those. And then over here, we got a cooler. This actually we just bought. We had another cooler, it broke. I think it was $50 or something like that. It was Canadian Tire on sale or whatever it was. It's a 40 or 50 quart, 76 can. Ice can be for 3 days. Cooler, so it was next to nothing. I bought two of these little pumps. These are actually, they were in the boat section, like Canadian Tire, Home Depot, whatever. So they're little bilge pumps for some sort of a little boat. And then I wired them up, and I actually just ran them through a trailer connector. So I just doubled up the wires. That way you can take it apart and move it around car to car if you want. And then it's pretty simple. What do we got going on? So all it's going to do is cycle the water. So this side will go into the t-shirt, and this is the return side, which just would go out right there. And it would dump it right back in. Now, when we filled this up, it held like 3 or 4 bags of ice. We had all of our drinks in it, and we would drive probably 2-3 hours, and the water would still be cold, but there wouldn't be much ice left. So definitely our body heat and the heat of everything sucked the ice dry. Because then on the way home, we put this in the truck, and it lasted days with ice in it and our cold drinks. So obviously your body heat was crazy. I don't know if there's a way I wanted to maybe put on a timer or something like that, because on the way home, we were kind of alternating it on and off. And ultimately the water kind of got colder and kind of kept you cooler that way anyways, and it lasted longer. So this was money well spent. So get your car together, make sure it's reliable as possible. If you know any issues beforehand, get them fixed. But I'd love to see a bunch more old hot rods on the road. Everyone's willing to help you out, so don't worry about breaking down. People will do whatever. We saw lots of small towns, all the little shops and stuff were staying open, helping people out, cars up on jack stands out in the parking lot. Everyone was cool. Every hotel parking lot, there was all sorts of hot rods. Everybody had a part to help you out. If you're driving something really weird, that's on your own, if you're, whatever it may be. But if you're driving like Chevy, Ford, Dodge, I think you're okay. So yeah, I would invest in some way to stay cool a little bit. Lots of drinks, lots of water. Don't screw up on those things. Make yourself a little cool shirt here, like patent pending, but in the meantime, I just gave you the design to do it. I think I have $100 in this thing, and I think everyone we saw, I think they would have paid $5,000 for this thing. It was unbelievable. A couple of fans, make sure you're good. Go through everything, make sure anything that's going through anything metal or gonna rub up against anything, make sure it's got some sort of a grommet or a little sheathing on it, because that's stuff when you're putting miles and miles and miles on. I think stuff that maybe in city driving won't quite be affected, you're gonna know. So on this thing, I had all the fuel lines and all that were all mounted. I ran zip ties around everything just for extra peace of mind. I might just be the problem there, but really that was it. And let's be honest, the States, there's an O'Reilly's on like every corner, so you can buy anything you want there. So that being said, I hope to see you guys next year driving your old crappy hot rod. Don't give me the excuses about you don't have overdrive. We didn't have overdrive. We didn't have cruise control. We didn't have air conditioning. We just got in there and made it happen. The only thing that's, I don't even want to say unique, but a little bit upgraded on this is it has an LS motor. Otherwise, I drive this thing with a small block Chevy in it tomorrow. So, I'll see you next year at Hot Rod Power Tour, and probably in the next video.